Welcome to an all new edition of Tackling a New Kingdom. I am your host, Tank Johnson,
And I'm your co-host, Bernard Berrian.
and we are excited. We are excited to bring you many relevant topics to tackle. As you know, we're going to tackle a current event, one that we deem is a real event, and one that we feel is controversial. So, B Dub, you ready to jump into this?
Sure is. When you ready to go, let's go.
Man, let's talk about it. One of the things that I personally do not believe gets enough media coverage and is not talked about enough is when these women make accusations against a public figure and they are forced to retract their accusations, and then their story just fades away, right, B?
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. Yeah, it's the fades away, the story fades away part that really kind of touches you a little bit because it's like, man, brothers, people are losing their lives, their livelihood, their futures are being torn apart, their futures are lost or derailed, put on hold for many years, decades sometimes. So it's like, and then the accuser or the victim, so-called victim, alleged victim, or whatever you want to call it, is just walking around scot nothing, no penalty, nothing, just bygones we got bygones, and people are hurt. Like the other side of that, the people on that side, they're hurt. They've been through a lot of pain, a lot of pain, time, humiliation. I mean, the public humiliation, the scrutiny, like the family, even family humiliation, probably too. Just people looking at you sideways, like. So there's not even a number or any type of value you can put on the pain like that is inflicted on those people that have to go through situations like that. So it's like it's really insurmountable on really how I can even try to put it into words, like the feeling that you go through, or the feelings you go through, the pain you go through, or anything type you go through being in those type of situations, bro. It's crazy, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's crazy.
No, I mean, and we're gonna look at Trevor Bauer, right? This guy
Yes.
was a Cy Young winning pitcher, and I'm gonna keep it a buck, right? Like, when a situation like this comes out, a lot of details that like people shouldn't or don't want to know. Like, it sounds like my man was a freak, right? He was on some
It
freaky
sure
shit,
did.
right?
He probably was.
Right,
Understandable.
and I mean, hey, no judgment from this side, but it seems like that opened up the opportunity
Exactly.
for these crazy women to take advantage of him. And so
They're gonna
the
take that
first
shot.
one, huh?
They said they're gonna take that shot.
They going
I
to,
was over
man.
here firing off.
And I mean, you look at like the numbers in a baseball contract for a pitcher, and the hundreds of millions of dollars that are at stake, and then when you get something like this levied against you, I mean, those offers dry up so fast, right?
Gone. And it is like we were talking about in other people's situations. Like the offers, like just the potential of what you could have, because he's not really that old of a player. He's still got some years left. So even the potential after that is just kind of just there. It's all gone. But to be put in those situations where you're the victim and there's nothing you can do about it. Everything is totally out of your hands. You can't, all you can do is just sit there and talk, and nobody's believing any of the words that are really coming out of your mouth until boom, all of a sudden this story about this girl's credibility is just shot to fire. And then now all of us, oh, now you believe me. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's like, that's a shame to me.
I mean, that's too little, way too late, right? Because this guy has, with all the talent that he possesses in that arm, he's had to sit on the sideline, and we're not even going to talk about
Was it like
what his
100 game suspension or something like that?
yes, and will the MLB take that back, right? Like he's actively going
Well, too.
against his. So what are his lawyer fees charging? And I just couldn't imagine, right? Like, put yourself in his position as to, like, we know the things that you would want to do, right? That list is over
Right,
here, and
right,
then
right.
the things that you can do is over here, and all you can really do is, like,
Uh,
go through the process. And I just couldn't imagine, like, how that man feels, man.
yeah, it's devastating going through that process. It's long, it's drawn out too. Like we don't even know where it'd be if all this stuff about her credibility didn't come out. Where would he be then?
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like think about that. Like
Well,
it's only a hole that's gonna. I feel like it's only a hole that's gonna get dug deeper in those type of situations.
and I often look at, a lot of times when, like, the Innocence Project, works for years and years and years, and someone's freed on a murder, but they've already served 26 years, and then the state gives them like a 1.5 million dollar check, and there's really no amount of money that is going to make that time lost okay. So I'm just looking at, like, Trevor Bauer in this situation. Do you think that he has any recourse against Major League Baseball?
Whew. I mean, the way things are going now, it seems like I think he might have a case for it. I mean, players are in across the leagues are starting to take a lot more or control in being individualized and they're going on with what they feel. If they're feeling like they're wrong, they're going and speaking about it, being a lot more vocal with the help of social media and things like that. There's a platform to speak without being attacked. And you can control, you can control the narratives on how you want things to go out. So I mean, I think he would have a case. I mean, that kind of is definitely at least a defamation case,
Well,
civilly against her for sure.
from a civil side, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I look at, we both, played in the NFL, and there's a lot to be said about the NFL's players union, but we've always looked at Major League Baseball player union as kind of the
the tip
top
at
of
the
the
top.
top, right? Like, these guys, they get arbitration for their guys. They make sure those guys do not get screwed over in anything. Um, Man, I mean, I would think that their players association should really rally around here and rally behind him and make an example of these accusers, because if they don't, then they're going to see that if this happens to another baseball player in the future. So, I mean, what do you think from the standpoint of the players association could be done?
Like you said, baseball does have one. In baseball and hockey, they do have one of the strongest players associations. So I do definitely totally agree on that with the push and the fight coming from their standpoint because that's a lot of power coming out. Now you take it and you take that fight nationally, get it nationally televised. Now it's even more powerful and it hits home a lot harder. The message is a lot stronger. It's going to be felt. It's going to you're it's there's no way of getting around it. I'll try to say you can't try to sidestep it. I guess because a lot of times what happens is they'll put it in sports media, touch on it one time, and then boom, it's gone. But if it gets national media, national mainstream media, then I can see it definitely doing something where they're making some noise. But they got a strong PA. So I don't see why there isn't any reason for them to go out and really back Bauer on this. Because like you said, there's people coming in, there's people that are going to take their shots. There's a lot of money getting thrown out, and the money's just going up and up and up and up. So people are going to be there's people that are that are looking to take advantage. And I mean, it's just they're opportunistic people out there, and
Yeah.
times are getting harder and harder. So money's getting tossed around. More and more money's getting tossed around. This is an easy target. There are people going to take their shots. So if we got a powerful union going out there and really doing something to try to really protect the players, then it's going to be a lot harder for people like that, opportunistic people, to come and try to take their shots and attack people.
Man, because to your point, right? Like, this seems like the new lick for women out there, right? Like, first they try to blackmail you with, hey, if if you don't give me this amount of money, then I'm going to go public with these accusations. And the accusations are damning enough where it won't even matter who did what. If those things are attached to
To
your
your
name
name.
in
Yep.
a public setting, then
So
those unless someone goes and undoes that, and I mean undoes that in a real public way. And that's why I commend Trevor Bauer for going
the
after his
Cincinnati
name,
Post. Yes.
because I'm a person who knows the feeling of losing your name to headlines, and you want to say so much. You want to you want to tell your side so bad, but you just realize you look at social media, all the comments, it just seems like there's nothing you can say that's going to make it right. But these women, and I want to, I mean, one of these girls has a real foreign name, and I don't, but I want to. Her name is Darcy Adana Esse Manu. I'm going to say that again. Darcy Adana Esamanu, and she was brought up on felony charges of fraudulent schemes by theft or extortion. She previously accused Bauer of sexual assault in 2022, alleging that the incident took place in 2020. And what is this, man? Like, I got a new term that I want to bring into the public conscience, and that's trauma banking. And I'm gonna say that again, folks.
Yeah.
Trauma banking. Because if something happens to you in 2019 and
Exactly.
you want to bring it to the forefront in 2024, to
It's
me,
okay.
that's already a red flag. What about you, B?
Nah, for real. Like, what happened in 2019? Why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you make the case then? It was kind of quiet. I don't want to hear none of that. They didn't want to. They didn't want to hear me. They kept shunning me away, turning me out. 5 year difference ain't that long. It's 2019. Something happened in 2019. We didn't already talked about all the Me Too hashtag Me Too's. All that stuff's been out there. Being outspoken, going out there and speaking with being attacked. All that's been already discussed. So there's no excuse for sitting there and waiting years around, except to try to cash in on a check. It's the only way I see around it.
Man. And the other woman who accused him was Lindsay Hill. And this woman, I mean, she was winking at the camera when she was, telling
The
her
accusations is
story.
wild.
And I one of her news interviews, it was just crazy. And I commend the reporter for grilling that girl because she knew she was lying. And whoever is in the media, we've got to start to protect each other and not just look for the salacious headline to run
Yes.
it, because that is affecting people's lives
Clickbait.
tremendously, man. And I hope, for the sake of just humanity, that Trevor Bauer, both of these women, they get, whatever the comeuppance they get from the legal standpoint. But I hope there's some way that he can get the retribution back to get the earnings, his name, and all that. He will never get the time lost, but I just hope he gets an opportunity to get those earnings because he was a Cy Young caliber pitcher, right?
Exactly. I hope the same thing coming to him, man. Like his social media posts, I'm glad he's going out there and really speaking about his situation and making and not really making light of it, but putting out there on the forefront that he's been highly wronged and something should be done about this. So more power to you, Trevor. I hope everything you get comes to you because it's hopefully it sets some precedents for other people that are going to be soon following your footsteps because it's not going to stop.
Yeah, man. Listen, baseball players tend to lead the way in these type of things, and I hope that, yeah, he does end up getting what he deserves. So that is tackling something current. B
Yeah.
Dub, what we got for tackling something real, my man?
Let me see. I think we got AJ Simon up next on the clock.
AJ Simon, right? So me and B Dub, we are no conspiracy theorists, and I'm not an anti anything, right? Like I am all for, if it works for the betterment of the people, it should be done. But why is it so normal that
Hold on. Let's introduce AJ Simon first.
okay, let's
Yeah. Let's just say so. AJ Simon, 25-year-old defensive lineman from Tobyana, I think it's Tobyana, Pennsylvania. Transferred to Albany from Bloomsburg University in about 2022. He was named Coastal Athletic first teamer, but his death, obviously, he died untimely death. We don't know what the death is, and that's what all the confusion and all the consurgery circling around his untimely and unfortunate death is all about. So just give a little people a little preview of what was going on with AJ Simon first before we actually get into the controversy circled around what's going on.
well, I'm not even sure. Like, I mean, you can call it controversy, but I just want to know, like, in our era, I remember, some of the tragedies that took place in our eras, from like Corey Stringer from the
Yes.
Minnesota Vikings, and him out at the hot practice, and even the ones that happen on the Division I level during winter conditioning, and but it seems like everyone is expecting us to believe that these otherwise healthy men and women are just passing away nowadays.
Oh,
Do you? I mean, what's to that, B?
you already know me. There's no way in hell that that people just falling off like that. Healthy, young, and a lot of times people try to make the excuse of, well, it's always been happening. Social media is kind of shedding the light on it now. No, it hasn't. I was checking. I want to say about 2 years ago in 2022, like recently after all the COVID hoopla and all that stuff was going on. I was checking on just that the sudden death arrest numbers from like 2019 or 2020 on in just athletes. And the numbers before that, it was like, I want to say it was maybe 20 in the past like 50 years or something like that. 20 athletes that died just like that. That point on to current, I guess current time at the time it was like 2022. From 2020 to 2022, it was somewhere around 200 athletes that died. So I mean, that's a that's a big jump in a real short span of time after something people are being forced or kind of made to take some type of product that's supposed to help them out. So I mean, I hate when people try to say causality isn't causation and all this and try to make 2
Yeah,
plus 2 equals 4, 1 plus 1 equals 2 to me, and it's like knocking down dominoes. It's all everything's falling in line. It's hard. You can't deny what's going on.
right. The real raw
The
data.
real raw data. You can't deny that.
And what even makes it more frustrating is that if you do have an opinion contrary to the popular opinion, you're looked at as something wrong or against something.
Yeah.
And I'm you look at a guy like LeBron James. We call that the genetic lottery, right?
Man,
6'8",
that boy,
240,
that
could
boy
play
going.
basketball, could play football, and he's on his 20th year in the NBA. And then,
Unhappy.
like, why would you expect his son to have a heart attack as a freshman in college? And it's like, I'm just, to your point of like causation, causality, and like, what's the reason? I mean, it just blows my mind that they're trying to these
It's
players
everything else but.
they come on the ticker for like one day. Their college says, he was a great player and all that, and then it's gone.
Gone.
When are we gonna have some accountability at the highest level to say, like, maybe we should look into this?
Man, that accountability word, that's a strong word. Really strong. It takes a lot of action behind that. And a lot of people just don't have enough courage to really do that. Situations like this is really it's you already know it's profit and loss. It's about the dollar bill.
Facts.
and that's always going to win, especially here in this country. That is always going to win. So until there's a way to change and affect how they get money off of that, that's the only way I see that being remedied. Other than that, it's going to be what it is.
But let's talk about that though, B. Right? It's the bottom line. It's always going to be about the dollar, but I think more than that, it's going to be about people's legacies, right? Like you look at the people, if it is found out that a shot that we had to take, and I don't know, 75% of Americans took this shot and are still taking this shot. If it is later found out, I mean, but time out. What am I saying? It's already
It's
been
already out there.
proven that that's what I'm saying. What am I saying? It's already been proven. So like when are they gonna have enough data to be able to quantify that there's a cause and effect? When? How many more players have to drop dead in the peak of their healthiness for them to say, maybe we should have did something different?
I'm gonna tell you when people are old enough to forget about it. That's when the people 50 years, 60 years now gonna be reading history books and say, I don't believe they fell for that. I can't believe that. Just like Hitler, how Hitler did everything and did all that. It's gonna be the same situation here. They're gonna be reading, I can't believe they fell for that. Wow. And gonna be looking just we're gonna be in the same exact boat. But that's just it's the way things work, the way history is. I can't stand it.
I just can't. I just can't see like many more young, healthy players passing out. And then listen, they either gonna blame it on fentanyl or they're gonna blame it on the shot. And and that's really all it is. And it's like, damn, you've got all these people that are saying, man, I haven't been right since I took that
Since I
shot.
took it. Since I took it.
And I know people in my family personally who have those type of feelings. And I'm just like, you look at the magnitude that it would be for there to be culpability and accountability. I mean, I don't even know if jail time is even enough, right? Like, it just blows my mind. I mean, this stuff is
It's the
going to
very
be.
minimum.
These people are having children, and who knows? Like, that's one thing when they basically said that, like, the normal trials for a vaccine, takes 10 years, and we approved one because of someone signed a signature and said, hey, it does not have to take that long. We can do it right here before this election. Man, that's crazy.
Push it through. It's they do as they want. They do as they please. That's the way things are going now. We're slowly in this country. We're slowly giving up freedom. So the government is doing what they're going to do. They are exacting their will upon the citizens, and the citizens are letting them do it. So they're going to do what they're going to do. The government. That's what the government. The word government means to control the mind.
Facts. And thoughts and prayers are not enough anymore, man. I'm so tired of, thoughts and prayers. They've said that so much that they've turned it to T's and P's. I heard somebody say that the other day. I was like, well, what does that mean? He said T's and P's. They've hit it with the abbreviation, B. Like, what the fuck are we doing? We've condensed it to T's and P's, my guy.
Oh man, goodness
That's
gracious.
wow.
That I just right now I picture the Harlem Nights scene where they're going over to go shoot everybody up. Everybody's shooting big guns and they're over there throwing his T's and P's.
Yeah. T's. Ducks.
Oh yeah.
Prayers. Like
Prayers. T's. P's.
Bro.
Man, it's
crazy, dog.
It's you got, like I said, you got to put some action to it. Like accountability requires action. You ain't putting no action to anything. I can care less what you say.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when they make those movies that are just so over the top, like don't be a menace to the hood, don't be a menace while drinking your juice in the hood.
Yeah.
And he had the rocket launcher. Like, I feel like we're living in those times, bro. Like, it is a
Everything.
crazy what's going on out here. And like, bro, I honestly, I just can't, I just can't become so numb to kids 18 to 22 just dropping dead. And so listen, to our brother AJ Simon, we just, man, we send our love and our thoughts and
Thoughts
prayers,
and prayers.
T's and P's. Man, well, whew, that's tackling something real, B-Dub.
Man.
I don't know how much more real than that you can get. And now let's switch lanes to the National Basketball Association. Man, now I've always said that if you're going to introduce something like gambling into our sporting world, there's going to be some negative drawback, right?
Sure.
And we just saw Porter, the Jonte Porter,
Dante Porter.
banned for life from the National Basketball Association because now I gotta make sense. So he bet that he would make less than 2 3-pointers in a game, goes in a game, makes one, and then checks himself out. So there's no chance that he can make a shot. Is that how it happened?
That's one of them. Yeah.
What's the other one?
Another one was a game. I want to say it was a March 20th game. I want to say against the Kings. He didn't play at all. He just went. He didn't. Yeah, he did. He just said I wasn't going to play at all, and he had one of the associates go place a bet. The bet was 80 stacks, 80 racks.
Oh.
Go place a bet that they were going to lose that game. So the person, the person at the whoever was running the gambling bet red flagged it because of how high the bet was. And once they red flagged it, they started going and doing their due diligence and checking out and researching back and going and finding out. And they found out where it came from. And it was like, hold on, this is a large amount of money. And they found out he was close associates to Jonte. And then that was actually the one that got him caught up.
So
there's going to be a 1.1 million payout. That's really why they started searching. He got paid out 1.1. He won.
Bro, these dudes is like, I'm gonna get a second contract however I can get
however I can get it. It's coming.
I mean, but let's talk about it though, B. Let's talk about it from a real standpoint, right? Like, if I'm trying to cheat the system in gambling, let's just talk about how hard it would be. We understand like prop bets where I believe if there is an irregular betting pattern and that persists, then you've got certain people who look into it, right? So if I'm a player and I'm wanting to place a bet on my team, right? Well, one thing I wouldn't do is use my debit credit card, right? I wouldn't use anyone with my last name's debit or credit card, which is what happened to the kids. I forget at what college that was. It was one of the middle America colleges, but yeah, they had their mom, and the guy from the Patriots. He had his one of his kinfolk putting in the bets for him. But okay, so I wouldn't have myself or someone with my same last name. But what if it was somebody, a friend of a friend, and it wasn't a prop bet, and it was something like, maybe I know that our quarterback is more hurt than our coach is leading on to the media, and they're saying, oh, the under is 21 points. This is NFL football.
Yeah.
And so, hey man, I know he can't turn the corner and run. So I put the money, like, do they have a foolproof system to catch everybody?
I mean, I don't think anything, nothing's foolproof. There's people slipping in the cracks, but I mean,
Gotta
that's
be.
we ain't obviously we're not hearing about those stories. So I wish I knew who they were. I got to get in touch with them, find out what their secret is, and get the secret sauce. But on a real note, I mean, it's causing a lot of havoc in the league. I mean, the gambling, the influence, like what it's doing on it, on player behavior, league integrity, regulatory challenges, the player integrity. I mean, the transparency, like it's crazy, and the legal implications that are going on with sports betting, and that's just a whole new litany of dynamics that require immense
B-Dub,
navigation.
think about this, bro. Fans used to cuss players out over
All
fantasy
day,
football, right?
all day.
Think about that, man. You messed up my fantasy this week. I lost because you didn't get your 7
All
catches.
day.
So imagine if a fan loses
No,
100,000.
man.
Are we putting the players in any more danger?
That's
Right?
what I'm
Like
saying.
my biggest thing is this, right? Like I get it. All the sports want it. Their goal is to get as much money as they can so that so they can make the
Exactly.
game as like the way it's supposed to be. But I'm almost certain that we could have done without that billion or 20 billion. We
Sure.
could have got that somewhere else. And like here's the thing that bothers me, B-Dub, is that when they were talking about in the Major League Baseball making the strike zone ran by a robot, right?
Yeah.
Ran by a robot. I was like, hell no, y'all tripping. But now that gambling is such a prevalent part of our game, I'm thinking like we might need to do that.
The robot, I would actually like a robot over a human. There's a lot less error in a robot than there is in a human
Yeah.
for calls, because a robot's going to be able to see this line is this line. If that ball crossed that line and touched that line, strike. If it don't, ball. Like there's no debate about that.
Right. Right. But let me ask you about this, right? Are all human referees born somewhere? Yes or no?
For sure, yeah.
Right.
We all want the biases,
Right. So
prejudices, all of it.
if you don't think that these refs have inherent biases, I saw one on the NFL. He told Tyreek, he said, hey Tyreek, you can't throw the peace sign today. I don't want to have to give you that flag because we need you. He said, we need you.
Need you. We are one, brother. We
Dog.
need you. That's real. I mean, everybody likes somebody. Everybody is from one, especially if you're involved with the sport. You're a ref. If you're a ref at one point in time, somewhere along your life, you were a fan. Care what you try to say. You're a fan. There's no way you're gonna do that if you're not a fan.
Did you see the one ref with the burner account? The Celtics burner account. So every time so they said he had a burner account for the Celtics.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
remember that? and I'm just like, duh, duh. Of course he was talking cash shit on that account, right?
Hell yeah, smart. I did that too though. That's smart. Go out there, let them have it. You ain't gonna be talking about bad about our refs. You have to let the word have it.
Yeah, I just think about like when Donahue, the referee that got caught for gambling like in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s.
Allegedly.
No, he went to prison.
No, he went to prison, I know.
And like, that was one person, right? And so they wanted us to believe that
the one who got caught.
All the refs that one, he was the only one.
No, that's just what I said. He was the one that got caught. That's all it is. There's more doing it. I know. I guarantee there's more doing it right now. Just who's gonna get caught? Eventually, someone's gonna get caught, or do they want them to get caught? We might be at that point.
Right. And I mean, like we've always said, right? Like, in like the NBA finals, if a team goes up 3-0, like it's almost, you can almost bet on it that the next game the other team is going to win, so that the series is drawn out, and they get those television,
the views,
all that revenue, right? So there's always been a skepticism as it pertains to refs, their credibility. Like, how could you see a world where we had like artificial intelligent referees in basketball and NFL, robots out there?
It would look funny, but I don't. Man, the way things are going now, I've seen robots in the stands, so I could definitely see somewhere down along the line robots being in that or part of a game. I could see it probably starting out filming or something like that, doing something like that, something on the sidelines, and then eventually being an actual part of the game and maybe calling ref in the game or something like that. I could definitely see that in the future. The way things are going, the way technology is. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that's a good point though, right? Because maybe you wouldn't have to have robots, right? Maybe you could just have them watching the game somewhere, and all that's programmed for them to see is infractions. And I think you might have to turn it down a little bit, because you could obviously call a foul on every play, right?
Yeah.
Man, I think you might be.
But see, how would see that's the part where we start to get tricky. That's where that error, that I feel like that human error starts to show up. Like how do you control the notch at, all right, well, that wasn't really a hold. How's a robot going to be able to really determine that? How do you program or create an algorithm for a robot to really understand that and be able to figure out, oh, that wasn't really a hold. He really actually let him go.
Program him to call 1 in every 5 holds, 2 in every 5 pass interference, offense and defense. I don't know, set the freaking algorithm the right way, but like I feel like we gotta have something to offset this gambling, man, because what do you see on social media after every game? Script,
yeah.
It's rigged. It was this. It was that. I mean, I'm tired of seeing that.
I don't know how to. But I don't know what's the solution to that though. What you know what I mean? Like, because the way I feel like the way the game's getting called and the way the game's being shown and televised, like it does look like it's scripted. Like the stuff is getting really, really predictable. And now that we got a lot more eyes on the game, like there's the blatant stuff that there's no way they missed that. I saw a clip. Referee spotted this ball. Guys went out of bounds. Say he went out of bounds at the 30. Okay. Referee came up and the ball like just rolled out of his hands or something. Referee picked the ball up. Oh, no. Wasn't referee. Sorry. A player picked the ball up, moved it ahead to about moved it ahead and spotted like 3 yards ahead of where the player went out of bounds. Ref picked the ball up, put it down right where the spot was supposed to be at. Then another ref came over, picked the ball up, and put it like 1.5 yards behind where the actual spot was. And I was just like, wow. Then they went and had a little meeting, and I was like, I wonder if they're just talking about this right now, because that ball is still left back, way back there, and it's clear where he went out of bounds is about 1.5 yards ahead of it. And it was just, there was like a series of like 3 or 4 plays that were just blatant obvious like that too. And I was like, yeah, I can see why people say scripted. Like,
well, because like I've always understood makeup calls, especially like in like basketball or even if you go back to I believe it was the Bengals and the Rams Super Bowl, and they were, like they weren't calling a lot of pass interference like in the first half, and they were letting the players play. And I feel like, especially the refs in the NFL, right? They're being graded, right? So if they miss a call, that's a way that they can't, maybe be reffing the next Super Bowl, right? So I feel like if he knows that he missed a call, then he's on higher alert to make that next call. And that's just the human element of it. But with all of that being said, you asked like you said I don't know what we can do about it. Well, I know one thing: when it starts to affect the bottom dollar,
we'll
in
do something for
in
sure.
any of these leagues, they're gonna have to make an adjustment, and I honestly think that's coming soon. I think some way somehow it's gonna become so egregious that they're gonna have to do something to like fix this problem because it's getting out of control right now.
But do you really see people stop watching football though and stop supporting football? I don't see that happening at all.
Well,
Like, how's it? What stance is going to go out there in the world in the public today to really affect the NFL? That shields bottom line.
well,
Give me
here's what
one.
I think. It may not necessarily be viewership. It could be the arm of betting and gambling, right? Like if people don't think that these games are officiated in a proper way, would you put your bet out there knowing that there's could be some
Hell no.
trickiness going on?
Hell
You know,
no.
maybe not.
But I don't know. I think then maybe they just cut ties of partnership with gambling then.
And then I think the game gets back to where it needs to be. I just look at all of this influx of money and like on my phone, I don't care if I open Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, I'm getting solicited to gamble.
Oh yeah.
And didn't they used to say that gambling was an addiction just like drugs?
By drugs. Yeah, it sure is.
And so like we've just thrown morality out the window now.
I mean, look at the times we're in. I mean, that kind of goes along with the flow of things. Like morality's been tossed out the window for a little bit. We got people coming in underwear to teach classes to little kids in kindergarten and all kind of stuff. So when we talk about morality, who and where is that line drawn at?
Well, I've got a way that we can draw more eyes and viewership to spring football. You ready for this?
Hey, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Huh? You said let's hear it? Okay. All right. So I think if we took a game and made it the game of the week, right? In whatever, UFL, right? And in that game, a percentage of the money bet on that game goes to the winner of the game, right? So let's say 1% of all the betting dollars goes into a pool. And those two teams play a game of the week, and the winner takes the pool. And you can either roll that money later into the season and bet on yourself, or you can cash out. I think these UFL players, some of their game checks could be 2,500, maybe $5,000. I'm not sure how much they're making, but I think that would make fans pay attention to spring football. What do you think? Am I tripping or am I close?
So when you say spring football, you're talking about like the I guess the not the real professional football leagues that
The
are
UFL, the Rock,
UFL, yeah.
that shit that's
No,
going on right now.
I actually like that. I think I like that a lot better. If we're gonna implement gambling with sports, I actually like doing it at that, like the NBA G League, all those. Let's do it at those levels for sure. Why not? If we're gonna do it, I totally agree with that. And then giving somehow some proceeds to the teams, or splitting some type of revenue sharing with all the teams, maybe
Yeah, I mean,
to make it. You know what I mean?
just think about like how many more eyes would be on these
Oh, a lot
UFL
more.
games,
A lot
right?
more.
Like I think their jersey sales will go up because if some UFL receiver goes crazy and he helps the team win the pot, man, people are gonna want his jersey. You feel
Yeah,
me?
no, for sure. For sure. It'll create a lot more viewership on, especially at the lower levels. I mean, anything you can do to promote viewership for those lower level professions. I mean, is gonna attract anybody and anybody out there. And gambling is a hell of a way to get viewership and attract people out that way. Um, I probably would. I don't know. I'm not really. I don't know, but it kind of sparks my interest a little bit because I'm not really a gambler like that, but it sounds fun. You know what I mean? It kind of takes fantasy football like into another step, I guess, is what it does. It kind of raises the bar and raises the level on fantasy football.
Yeah, dog. It takes it up. So, Dwayne, The Rock, holla at, tackling a new kingdom. If you really want to get the whole ooh on this little situation, because I'm telling you, man, you will get full stadiums, you will get people content online, and it would just make spring football a real thing if you decided to do that. Now, like you said, B, I'm not a gambler, right? But I feel like we've been trying ever since the XFL and
Yeah,
he ate me. They've been trying to wonder
I'm
like,
trying to work
how do we get eyes on spring football? And obviously, we see it's all about the Benjamins, right?
it. That's all you got to do. You bring in the revenue, we gonna make it do.
Well, man, today we have talked about, you know, Mr. Bauer and his cases and his fight for getting his name back. And I think the question there is going to be, what will the Major League Baseball Players Association do to support him? We've talked about the untimely passing of young athletes, AJ Simon, the untimely passing of athletes in that 18 to 24 range. That's getting a little, hard to watch. And we're talking about sports betting. That's a pretty full show, I'd say. So what you think, B?
Yeah, we tackled a lot of issues today. Some really, really, really good controversial issues too. At that, the sports betting, that's a really, really hot topic. I mean, you can't. That's always been a topic that's always been talked about, but right now it's kind of like a hot button, especially with what's going on with all the things you can do with gambling and trying to implement that into sports. Um, Alfonso, I mean, or AJ Brown, AJ Simon, and his untimely death. It's tragic to hear about that. I'm interested to see what, like in years to come, what they're gonna really say about all these deaths and all the sudden cardiac arrests, because it's blown my mind like how every reason in the book, but what we kind of know it is being said about those things. So I'm glad we touched those topics. I'm glad we dipped into those a little bit because the world and people need to hear about those things.
Facts. Well, thank y'all for listening. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And get in the comments. And what do you think about all this? Are these women getting away with this? And are you proud of Bauer getting on these people? And we're talking about what's the reason for all of these healthy athletes passing away, right? And what's your views on gambling, right? Is it making the game better? Is it making the game worse? Put it in the comments. We will definitely talk back to you. You talk to me, I talk back. We'll talk
Talk to
to you
me.
on the next episode of Tackling a New Kingdom.